Did LEGO really need to make an almost $500 fish tank set? So the other day, LEGO revealed the brand new Tropical Aquarium set, and the reactions are in. It looks like a lot of you guys are really not crazy about this set. Well, one thing in particular, the really high price point. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I don't typically do long form video reviews for sets, but this one, it just felt like it was too big and I had too much to say about this for only a short form. So here we are, this is my first long form video review. Now this set was sent to me as a part of the LEGO Ambassador Network's early review program, but I want you to know that all thoughts and feelings I express in this video are entirely my own. In this video, we will be taking a look at the build process, getting into the play functions and finished model as a whole, and addressing that elephant in the room, the price. Now, all that being said, let's dive in. See what I did there? So I honestly really enjoyed building this set. It is massive, so it is gonna take at least a couple of hours, but I just put on a playlist of like synthy chill music and vibed out, enjoying like the colors and putting it all together. Actually, it was a really great time. The instructions are all in one thick booklet, and in addition to 41 numbered bags, you also get a whole handful of the bigger parts in those plastic bags. Now, the designers did a really nice job of making the base nice and sturdy, and you early on in the build lay out all of the connection points for the play features, which we're going to take a look at later. Technic is used to make the functions work, but there really aren't too many complicated techniques being used here. I think it's all pretty accessible to pretty much most builders who pick up this set. Even people who are new to LEGO, I don't think are going to have too much of a hard time with this one. Now, the back of the aquarium is all done with this really nice medium azure color, and then they use all these curvy tiles to create a sort of pattern. I'm not super crazy about all of the exposed studs, but I think it gets the job done. It does look really nice against all of the other colors in the aquarium, and I really like the new little snail elements and the trans clear pieces being used to represent bubbles going up the side of the fish tank. I think that is a really nice touch. More Technic is added as you start to add some elevation to the build, and even as someone who doesn't like Technic, I found it really satisfying to click these little functions into place and then kind of play with them as I was going through the build. I especially like the assembly for this wiggly anemone, I like to call it. It was really satisfying putting this one together. But yeah, from there, with all of the technical stuff out of the way, it's really just adding in all of the different colors and plants and corals and stuff like that. I actually found this part of the build the most satisfying because you get to do some really interesting techniques. There's a lot of really pretty colors being used here. So yeah, from there it is pretty much just more straightforward system building. And then you add on the frame and there you have it. It is a complete aquarium. Okay, so now let's take a look at those play features. So there are 4 main functions in this set, and I think all of them are actually really neat. So probably the most impressive feature is this little crab that when you twist this knob here, the crab pops out of his cave. I think that's really fun, and maybe as like a little surprise, if you're gonna be showing the set off to somebody, you can just go like, boom, and there's a crab there. So I think that one's pretty neat. One word of warning though, this knob can actually be very easily be pulled out and then the function doesn't work. Don't do what I did. So I had the chance to interview the designers in Denmark. And when I was getting ready for the interview, I was just kind of like playing around with the features, and my brain thought for some reason you were supposed to pull this knob. I don't know why I thought that, but here I am now trying to reconnect this feature, which it doesn't really go back in easily on its own. You kind of have to like get your fingers in there sometimes. Well, and it can be a little bit cumbersome. I was just sitting there like fumbling around with the set that I just broke as I was gonna interview the designer. So don't do that, don't pull this knob. Now, fortunately, the other play features don't have this same problem and are a lot more secure. So if you rotate this crank here, you can actually make the treasure chest open and close, revealing some sunken treasure. This is really neat, just kind of like your classic fish tank decorations. Has to have some kind of like nautical aspect. So I think it's pretty neat that they added this one. If you rotate this crank, you can make the biggest fish in the aquarium kind of swim back and forth. I think that one's really neat. He's just kind of swimming in place. And then I think this one might actually be my favorite. You can twist this little knob here, and then you make this little anemone like wiggle back and forth. I think that's really kind of fun and zany. What I love about this set is that it is really impressive to look at. The colors are really beautiful and diverse. It makes for just sort of a really interesting thing that I don't think LEGO really has offered a set quite like this, so it's definitely interestingly striking if you display it in the right place in your house. I think people are going to be really interested in looking at it. It has those great functions. It's just a really cool, different kind of set. All that being said, the set is definitely far from perfect and raises some questions. So the designers said that the creatures living in this fish tank aren't really based on any real fish. They just kind of took colors and vibes and some inspiration from real fish and then sort of came up with something a little bit whimsical and fantastic. I think it's really cool that LEGO has that level of creativity that you can do that. It just seems kind of like an odd choice to me. When I first heard rumors about this set, I was expecting something similar to the Botanical Collection or some of the other nature-themed sets that LEGO has made. They've made some really awesome nature sets with really realistic creatures, so I don't know why the opportunity wasn't taken to do some like marine life with this. But I don't know, maybe it was just a stylistic choice. I just think that that's kind of odd. Now, you also may have noticed that the tank is fully open on all these different sides except for the back. To some people, this is a problem. I saw a lot of comments saying that they should have had some kind of like plastic covering. I understand where people are coming from with that criticism, but I don't think it would have worked because if LEGO had to come up with some sort of clear glass walls for this, they don't have any pieces that exist in that big. So they'd have to make something new if it were to just, have like one piece covering it. And then even if they were to do that solution or maybe use other existing trans clear pieces, the price of this thing would have gone way up from where it already is. And also you would have had things like glare. Like I wouldn't even be able to be making this video right now because I would have like glare from my lights all on the glass. You wouldn't be able to access the play features. I think that that would just create more problems. So I personally think that it really works to have all of the sides open like this so you can access it. Maybe some people that's an issue. For me, I think it looks great as it is. The main downside that I can see to it being open like this is that it is going to need a lot of dusting. There's a lot more like little nooks and crannies and places where dust could get into, maybe compared to like a typical LEGO set. And then with the frame, it might make it like a little bit hard to get in there. So I don't know, maybe something to consider is that it is going to be a little bit difficult to maintain and dust. It's also huge. Like I don't know where I'm going to put this. 21 inches across, 14.5 inches tall, and then like 11.5 inches deep. This is a big undertaking. So unless you already have a spot like picked out for this, you might be struggling to find a shelf to put it. I mean, hey, that does make it an impressive display. And finally, probably the biggest complaint that I've seen about this set is the price. So that big question, is this set worth $480? In my opinion, no. Now granted, this was sent to me for a review offer, but even as somebody who has bought a lot of LEGO sets in the past, I've spent a lot of money on LEGO, I can look at this and think, I don't know if I would be totally satisfied having spent almost $500 on this, especially when you consider that it doesn't come from any licenses. This is totally like LEGO's own original creation. There doesn't seem to really be any new molds for this set. There aren't a lot of really special pieces. There's nothing printed in this set. There are a lot of recolors. I don't know if that contributes to the cost of a set. I wouldn't imagine it does. Probably the most unusual piece in this set is this shell that's being used for one of the anemones. This was previously used as the head of the Pixar lamp. So, but I don't even know if that would contribute enough to the price to justify this one being as high of a price as it is. Personally, I think that if this had been priced more in like the $350 to $400 range, it's still a lot to pay for a set, but I don't think people will be as upset as they are. It would be a lot more on par with what you would expect to get in that price range. Now, there is a gift with purchase that has been announced for this set. It is a fish tank filter. For whatever reason, this being a whole tropical fish tank, they didn't build in a filter with the set. You have to buy the set between November 13th and 19th in order to get this gift with purchase. Normally that would make me kind of upset. Like, I don't understand why LEGO seems to be in the habit of making gifts with purchase that are necessary in order to complete the set. I'm looking at the Death Star and TIE Fighter situation that happened last month, but honestly, I actually don't think this GWP really looks all that good. I'm confused about why there's like a little baby fish trapped inside the filter. And then there's this little fish food thing, which if this is supposed to be like a life-size fish tank, I think your fish food would at least be the size of like a soda can, right? So I don't know. This one's a little bit confusing. I don't think that GWP is really necessary to complete the set, but it's just kind of another odd choice in the release of this set that I don't fully understand. One last point about pricing is a comparison to other similar priced LEGO sets. Right next to me, I have the Avengers Tower, which is $500. This set is $480, $20 less. I'm kind of inclined to say that the aquarium looks maybe a little bit bigger. This definitely has more pieces. It has a whole bunch of licensed minifigures. It definitely has this really tall, impressive appearance. So I think both of these are really going to stand out if you put them in the right place in your home. But it is really interesting that there's only $20 of difference here. And this one has a license attached to it, Marvel nonetheless. And it has all of these interesting figures, exclusive prints, all kinds of unique stuff going on here. This really should be a lot cheaper than this set just because of how much stuff LEGO made for this that they that they didn't have to make, that they already had, not doing like licensing with this one. So that is a really kind of interesting difference between these. Rivendell, I think, is an actually even more interesting and baffling comparison. I couldn't even properly fit this set on my desk to compare them both. They are not even connected how they should be. But this set is $20 more. It has about 2,000 more pieces than this one. And it has, again, a license, all these interesting minifigures, some exclusive printed and stickered stuff. So you would really think that this would be a lot more money than this one, or this would be a lot less money than this one. But here they are being very similar in price. So I just don't really understand what is going on there. I almost think that this is a lot more impressive as a display to take a look at. I don't know. It's got me baffled. What do you think? But actually seeing them both side by side, I think they're pretty comparable in terms of size and just overall impressiveness. So maybe there is a little bit more to be said about pricing than just the piece count. I don't really like relying on that as the only factor for pricing, but when there is a difference of 2,000 pieces between two sets, that's just really weird and definitely raises some eyebrows. So ultimately, I think the decision whether or not to pick up this set is just gonna come down to personal preference. How much do you like the look of this set? Now, would I be willing to spend almost $500 on this set if it hadn't been gifted to me? Honestly, probably not, but I definitely could see there being people who would want to pick up this set. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a really beautiful looking set and I'm definitely happy to own it and I can't wait to find a place to display it, but I think it is really meant for just the right person. But actually, while building this set, I kept asking myself, who is this for? And I still don't really know. I feel like if you're someone who's really passionate about fish, you probably have some actual fish. Maybe this is for somebody who doesn't want to go through the whole hassle and upkeep of getting an aquarium set up and then you just want to build a LEGO version. Either way, I still think it is really cool and something that people will want to look at. I do also think that there was a lot of potential for mocks and upgrades and customization, maybe displaying some aquatic themed sets like Aquazone. That's something that I want to try displaying in here, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential for creativity here. It still just comes down to if you want to end up spending the money on it. I'm definitely not qualified, nor is it my job to tell anybody how they should or shouldn't spend their money. I can just present the set and show you all of the features about it and let you make your own decision. But I do think that every time you shop for LEGO, you should always be looking for some sort of deal, discount, gift with purchase, insider's points, just something to sweeten the deal a little bit. But anyway, that's all I got on this set. Thank you for watching, and thank you to the LEGO group for sending this set for review. If you like this video, please let me know if I should make some more videos like this and subscribe so you can stay updated on all of my LEGO content.